Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Actually It's Amira, where we talk news, celebrity gossip, hot topics, and as you know it, all things Kanye, because that is what is trending right now, right here on these YouTube streets. So let's get into it. So, the topic of today's live is, of course, Kanye West, the culture's Trojan horse. So, what is a Trojan horse? Because I feel like we need to start there. If you're at all familiar with Greek and Roman mythology, then you are familiar with the Great Trojan War, in which the Greeks were fighting the Trojans and they absolutely could not be defeated. I think the war lasted something like 10 years, where the Greeks were absolutely trying to destroy them by any means necessary and were unsuccessful on all fronts. And so, as an attempt to get inside of the Trojans' empire in the city of Troy, they actually put a whole bunch of Greeks inside of this emblematic horse, hid them in that horse overnight while they seemingly sailed all the way back to Greece and or to the Greek land, and they were going to allow for the Trojans to believe that they had won the war and that the Greeks had absolutely surrendered, only to find that once they opened up the city of Troy and let that Trojan horse inside, the Greeks were planning a sneaky attack in which they would jump out of the horse and then attack everyone in the city of Troy, thereby ultimately causing great havoc, great havoc. And it almost makes me think if that is what Kanye West is doing. Is Kanye West attempting to be the Trojan horse for our culture? To recap everyone on where we are today, Kanye West has been on what seems to be a world tour, going from platform to platform to platform, expressing his opinions about various topics, whether it's his contract with Adidas, his impending partnership with The Gap, his feelings about the Jewish community, or all things in between. Kanye absolutely has held no punches when it comes to getting his message across. Even up to and including disparaging the Black community along the way to achieve the greater good of whatever it is he has in his mind to achieve. So, as a free thinker and as someone who, before making any assumed opinion about anything that's going on, I try to look at all sides of the coin, because I think being short sighted about someone without really investigating what they're trying to do can be impulsive and it can be ill informed. So I've actually sat back and I've thought to myself, like, if I gave Kanye West the benefit of the doubt, if I looked at this from all sides of the coin, where do I land on what Kanye is doing? And if you've listened to any of my other lives, I was pretty transparent about why I think Kanye West is very upset. And he's admitted this in his Drink Champs interviews. He said that he was jealous of the Jewish community. He said he didn't like he likes the fact that they stick by each other, that they support one another, that they're ironclad in their business dealings, and that he only wishes that the Black community operated with that same level of vigilance. And I called that out in like my previous lives, because I also, as someone who deals with business owners on a regular basis, you 150% see that. Like, they are a community that will invest in their own and support their own long before they will invest in and support an outsider. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think that that is how you build generational wealth. That's how you build camaraderie. That's how you build culture. That's how you build community. And that is how you control the infrastructure of your resources, because that's ultimately what life is about. It's about controlling all aspects of your personal infrastructure. And so, as we know, Kanye got a rude awakening. I think that this come to Jesus moment, if we're going to talk about Jesus walking, I think his come to Jesus moment was thinking that if he just kept his head down, worked hard, did what he was supposed to do, and delivered on his product, that he would get a fair seat at the table, a fair shake of the hand, and that he would be able to transition from being just a black man into being a mogul, a mountain, in like just a god, essentially. I honestly believe that. And I'm not here to say that Kanye isn't capable of any of those things. I just think he got a very rude awakening when he realized that having money is simply not enough. It is not enough in America to just be wealthy. You have to have a lot more than that. And I think Kanye goes and does a Instagram post where he talks specifically about what power is to him. And I kind of want to share it with you guys because I think this kicks off where we see Kanye being today. And like I feel it really gives us an inside look to his anger and aggression. So I'm gonna share this little piece of my screen. I hope you guys can see it. But as you see here, Kanye says LVMH bought Supreme to be able to influence the high school demographic, which is true. And that's honestly exactly what Yeezy did. Yeezy's target demographic is Gen Z and millennials. That's their target demographic. To convince Gen Z to be excited about this brand so that they can put pressure on their parents to buy them these 7, 8, 9, $1,000 pair of shoes. And also millennials who are well capitalized and well positioned to purchase his product. So LVMH was doing nothing more than what the Yeezy brand was doing, which is influencing high schoolers and millennials to purchase their product. They bought you in to steal the art, BLM, and demographic, which I agree. I talked about it in my previous lives. I 150% believe that the extent to which Black people get positioned into popular culture, get endorsed by brands, get any kind of notoriety is the extent to which we can be marketing, position ourselves as marketing for these more powerful brands. If you are not marketable, if you are not delivering a message to your audience that pushes whatever agenda they're trying to push, you will not be successful. Intelligence alone is not a marker of success in corporate America. That's actually probably the least common denominator. As somebody who's been in corporate America for over 10 years, intelligence is a fraction of what it takes to be the forefront of a brand, to lead strategy, to be engaging. No, they're looking for someone who is the total package. And marketability is, I want to say, 80% of what's there. And I talk a lot about the whole idea of show ponies. When I do my career coaching courses, I talk about what it means to be a show pony and how show ponies tend to dominate corporate America. Like, I know you guys have been, if you are someone who has a job, you have been in a meeting and you have sat there and flat out asked yourself, how did this person even get this job? I guarantee you've asked yourself that question. How did they even get this job? And if you have, you were probably in the presence of a show pony, because that is what show ponies will invoke in you. You'll say, why did this guy or why did this girl get this job? And I think that is what these large corporations have done to dominate Black culture. They find these show ponies, these people who are 100% marketable, whether it's their beauty, whether it's their engagement with their audience, whether it's their ability to create social control over their target demographic. And then they prop you up almost like a token, and they endorse and push you to further selling their product. I mean, if we just look at influencer culture, what types of product are these influencers really selling? They are the infrastructure of marketing for large white owned brands. And that is not by mistake, that is by design. You do not see almost any influencer out here who has built a successful, sustainable brand for themselves endorsing mostly Black owned products. It does not exist. It will be, maybe some Black owned products will be sprinkled in here and there, but their primary driver is white owned brands. They will be picked. They will be picked to endorse these level of products. And so that's what Kanye is speaking to here. LVMH bought Supreme so that they could influence high schoolers, so that they can get them in at the ground level and integrate them into the LVMH brand. And so you go from Supreme to Louis Vuitton to what's next and what's next and what's next. And that is how marketing works. And I think Kanye is speaking to something very, very powerful here when he exposes this in his IG post. He also says that money is not power. And I could not agree with that more. Any could not agree with that more. As someone who has been in a room where business lending decisions, where you are deciding who gets millions and millions of dollars, as someone who has petitioned for, underwrote for, and actually been in the room when those decisions are made, I can guarantee and tell you that money alone is not power. There are other factors that will influence your ability to generate wealth, continued wealth, and to generate influence and to actually make decisions. I don't know if anybody know this, but there are a number of CEOs in this world who are not billionaires, who have significantly less money than Kanye West. Yet the CEO or the head of a department or the executive director of a line of business can single-handedly influence whether or not you get funding for a transaction, even though you have more money than them, because money alone is not power. And Kanye has identified this only because he has been in a room where he's had $140 million in an institution only to find that they told him, we don't have a seat for you. We don't have a deal flow for you. There's nothing we can do for you. From his experience, I wasn't in the room, but based off what he is saying, that's what happened. And he was hit with the rude awakening that money is not power. You know what is power? Positioning. And that is why I call Kanye the Trojan horse of our culture, because he has realized that unfortunately, Black people are so heavily influenced by propaganda culture, cancel culture, media culture, which I'm not saying other nationalities aren't. I'm not saying that by any means, but I'm only speaking for Black culture because Kanye is Black and I am Black. So I'm speaking about the Black experience here. Black people are so influenced by media culture, by influencer culture, because Black people set what culture is. We are the culture pioneers. We decide what's relevant. We decide what's hot. We control $1 trillion worth of infrastructure in America. We dominate how product moves and how product is positioned in this country. It is Black people, no other race, Black people. We control the dollar and how it is spent and utilized. We are the most influential people in the world. We dominate that, especially in the US. So I say all of that to say Kanye is aware that positioning is power. Real estate is power, because when you own land, you can build on that land. You could create your own infrastructure, which is what Kanye is looking to do. He is looking to build his own sustainable community. I'm going to show a clip of what Kanye said in a minute. But before I get to that, I do want to just make you guys aware of something so insane that I came across on the internet today, where they call Kanye West a white supremacist. I want you guys to really read this. It's absolutely insane to me. It says he is not just gross, and he damn sure isn't just a free thinker. Kanye West, this is from Newsweek, is now a full-blown white supremacist. His thinking, his speaking, his ideas, and even his very clothing now mimic and parrot well-worn white supremacist ideology. Wow. I don't think people understand what it truly means to be a white supremacist. What it truly means. I think these news organizations, they put out this hate rhetoric, this like attention grabbing rhetoric to draw people in and be like, you're right, he put on a white lives matter t-shirt, he is a supremacist, like he is for the agenda, without really unpacking why Kanye would do such an egregious thing. The Black Lives Matter movement, I feel, really got invigorated by what happened with George Floyd, and that whole, like, that really invigorated the Black Lives Matter movement. And they neglect to mention that Kanye West donated $2 million and paid the college tuition for George Floyd's daughter. $2 million to the Floyd family, but had the audacity to call him a supremacist because he is intentionally, in my opinion, trying to get Black people to pay attention to what he is saying. I feel it's like a red herring. It's like you say something insane, like what he said about the George Floyd comment. I'm not going to disagree. That was an insane thing to say, but it was so triggering and so pervasive that it forced people to pay attention to everything else he was saying. He is now under a microscope. He is now being examined across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Every news platform is zoomed in and given laser focus to what this man has to say, because he has utilized red herrings to engage an impactful conversation that we all need to pay attention to. And what is that conversation, you might ask? Let's talk about it. I want to play you a clip of what Kanye said. What is the conversation Kanye wants to get our people to pay attention to? Let's get into it.
This is what leadership looks like. And what do you think Sierra Kanye's perspective of Black is? You think it's talking about Mansa Musa, or you think it's talking about Christopher Columbus? So we want to talk about Black history. Who wrote that history for us? They beat down ideas that will keep you enslaved mentally. They target you. They put you in that box to control your mind and to make you fearful. I just don't have no fear left in me. So all I got is love. I've been waiting for us to take the power in our own hand. I've been waiting for us to control our narrative. We need to empower local leaders. And that's our focus in America, in a capitalist society, for us to unify. Our money is being made and going back into a white system everywhere. Our 44 million is worth 1.8 trillion.
1.8 trillion.
Neck and neck with the biggest company.
The black dollar is neck and neck.
And more focus, the black dollar will be the biggest company in the world.
The black dollar will be the biggest company in the world.
100% black-owned brand that is spoken. And what Liam Virgil broke down.
Yeezy is the only 100% black-owned brand that is worthy and that has spoken. And this is why I say, is Kanye West deploying a Trojan horse strategy against capitalist America? And I'm asking the question because he's been in the room, he's been at the table, he's done the business deals, he's seen their strengths, he's seen their weaknesses, he knows what tactics they will use to dominate and control Black people and the black dollar. And he is on some by any means necessary behavior in order to stop them in their tracks. And I think, and that's why I made a video 2 days ago saying, I think that this is a calculated attempt to destroy his own brand. He realizes that he has gotten the shit end of the stick in his Adidas deal, and they will not renegotiate with him to give him more leverage or a seat at the table. So he is Trojan horsing them. I'm already on the inside. Now I will destroy everything you thought you would continue to earn off my likeness. He is destroying that brand from the inside. His deal with Adidas doesn't expire to 2026. If he pisses off black people enough so that they will not buy another Yeezy product, what does he do to the Adidas brand that has exploited his likeness, his image, and his creativity year over year? What does he do to them? What does he do to them? He takes them down with him. That is a strategy of war. Them painting this man out to be a supremacist is a media strategy to confuse black people and to prey on our ability to be easily impressed. And Kanye is also preying on our ability to be easily impressed. He's also Trojan horsing the black community. He knows for an absolute fact that if he goes outside and puts on a White Lives Matter t-shirt, that he will get every black person in America to pay attention to what he is saying, because that is triggering and it is indignant. It is an attention grabbing strategy that he knows will work. It is marketing. It is genius. It is brilliant. But if we pay attention to the facts of what this man is saying, he is not anti-black. I don't think he's anti-Semitic. I honestly think he's saying this crazy stuff because he is infuriated that black people cannot position themselves to think and move how the Jewish community has historically moved year over year. They own their products end to end. They crowd fund first. They support and encourage each other's business ideas. They have rules, all kinds of rules that says you cannot sell a property to someone outside of the Jewish community without first considering selling it to a fellow Jewish man or woman. They are all about family. They are all about multiplicity. They're all about reinvesting in their own people. That is proven to be true. And he says it on Drink Champs that he is jealous of the way that they move. And if he can draw attention to how Jewish people have moved throughout the years and get black people to be enraged and to focus on what these people have done, perhaps he can inspire change for his own community. The way a Trojan horse does. They get in on the inside and they destroy it from the inside, not from the outside. And I think that somewhere deep down inside, that's what he's trying to do. How can he piss off enough people to get his message accomplished? And him aligning himself with these alt-right groups, which come from these supremacist ideologies, and they come from all of these like aggressive messages. I think Parler is the platform he recently bought. Well, how can you get the platform if you do not encourage the people? How can you defeat the enemy if you do not pretend to be a wolf, if you are not a wolf in sheep's clothing? How can you? How can you expose anyone if you are not cloaked enough to get the insider secrets so that they trust you enough to tell you what's going on so that you can expose them in the long run? I think Kanye drops these Easter eggs throughout his Drink Champs interview where he says, "Don't tell me your secrets because I cannot be trusted to keep them." I do not have anyone's interest at heart besides Kanye West. He's telling these people up front, he's telling us up front that he is actively attempting to get in the inside of these organizations so that he can figure out how they move, how they think, and how they do business so that he can come back and tell us what's going on and upend it in the most controversial way. And is it possible? Is he the Trojan horse? Or are we giving him too much credit? I don't know. I go back and forth every day, but I think I'm more so pulling and leaning toward him seeing enough about the ugliness of the culture and the ugliness of how they treat our people and wanting to make a conscious effort to make a difference. When he bought that land in Wyoming, and he started developing all of these small communities, and he talked about his father owning a water purification system in the Dominican Republic, it really got me to thinking. I'm like, yo, he's really on some futuristic behavior and realizing that while you may not be able to change the entire world, maybe you could create a small community of people who abide by and live by the same principles and values of the Jewish community. Because that's what he's doing. He created this community in Wyoming, he put homes there, he's creating his own school the same way the Jewish community has yeshivas and they have schools for their own. They don't integrate their children into the American school system. Have any of you guys gone to public school? How many Jewish kids have you seen in your public school? They go to their own schools, whether it's in Brooklyn, whether it's in the small suburban communities in New Jersey. I can only speak from my community, but they do not integrate. They go to their own schools. They educate their people from a young age to follow a system of principles and philosophies to advance the culture. They believe in all of it. You will not look at the American school system. How many Jewish kids do you see in your school? Hasidic Jewish kids, Orthodox Jewish kids. How many? How many? Really think about it. Why do you think he's creating that community in Wyoming? Because he wants to do what he's doing right here in this video. A community of people who believes and supports the ideologies and principles he does, where we can live in our own communities, where you can have babies that you may not be able to afford, but drop them off in this community and they will be raised by the collective. He is trying to recreate what the Jewish people have created year over year over year over year, but he can't do it without being a Trojan horse. He can't do it without disrupting the status quo. He can't do it without getting Black people to listen to what his Black ass has to say. And no one's going to listen. If he comes out, fight the power. Fight the power with his fists in the air on some Louis Farrakhan behavior. Yeah, he'll get a little steam from those people who are already woke. But how do you wake up the unawoke? You can't do it on some Louis Farrakhan fist in the air stuff. You have to do it by triggering these people to pay attention. Because that's what Donald Trump did. He's pulling a page out of Donald Trump's book. Donald Trump unearthed a community, which we would call the white supremacist community, and got them to pay attention and use them and leverage them to further his agenda of getting into office. That's what he did. He realized the weakness of the American mind and exploited it for his own gain. Because where do we see it now? We see allegedly he's holding on to trade secrets from the country that they're trying to get from him and prosecute him from him. We see him passing laws to keep his own money and his own family. That's what we see. That's what we see. We see that. And like it or love it, it was successful. He was able to literally stage a coup on the American government. Absolutely bizarre to see that in 2020, 2019. Like it was a bizarre thing to see, but he did it and he was masterfully successful. Because that's what they do. You can't be a Trojan horse. You can't foster change without being on the inside. And I think that's Kanye's strategy. Getting on the inside, unearth the people, say wild things, and then get it done. And honestly, the only thing that's keeping Kanye West alive is the fact that people think this man is crazy. That is keeping him alive. Because if people think you're crazy, and the media could convince us that Kanye is crazy, he's safe. because we don't harm crazy people. We institutionalize crazy people, but we don't kill them. We don't unalive crazy people. We pray for them. We Britney Spears them. We lock them away and put them in a conservatorship. That's what they're hoping for. They're hoping that they can convince enough people that he is a danger to himself and others. Who is he trying to bring with? I think he's trying to bring with him the people who strongly want to unite and unify as a black coalition in order to take down and take back what has been stolen from the black community through abusive contracts, through faulty business dealings, through propaganda and media. And I think he wants black people to stop being props for white owned businesses, white owned corporations. I'm not even going to say white owned businesses, but white owned corporations. I can't tell you how many times I've gone down TikTok rabbit holes where black influencers are literally complaining about how they are not being compensated in proportion to their white counterparts, but are doing the same work and generating significantly more sales. I've seen it no less than 1,000 times on my TikTok feed. No less than 1,000 times. And I often ask myself, I've actually probably made a video about it. Why do you keep volunteering your intellectual property to a brand who won't compensate you proportionately? Whose fault is it? Is it your fault or is it the brand's fault? And I think Kanye is flipping that on his axis. He's like, how long can we blame Balenciaga, Adidas, the Gap, or anybody else for our own ignorance? He talks about it in the Drink Champs interview. He's like, yo, at the end of the day, I didn't know what I was reading in my contract. I didn't understand business. I didn't really know what I was getting into, but I got into it. Once I figured it out, I wanted a better deal. And they told me, go wipe your nose and go home and go to bed. And that's what they do to black people all the time. You think you're getting a fair shake of the steak, you get in there, and then you realize that somebody else is doing better, making more money, and getting a better deal, a better shake than you. And you want more because you're performing higher and better. And they tell you to go wipe your nose and go home and go to bed. And you get frustrated and you get angry. And I think that's where he is now. I think he's reached a point where he's ready to be unalived, to defend and to stand his ground. And he has nothing more to lose because he's made enough money. He's traveled the world. He's owned property. He's made a family. He will always go down in history as negotiating and having one of the most successful business deals you've ever seen in the history of fashion. That and to date, that will belong to him. In the future, will someone outperform him? Yes. But as of today, that honor belongs to Kanye West. He will die a legend, whether it's today, tomorrow, or a year from now. The question becomes, what does he want to leave in the wake behind him? And I think in the wake behind him, he wants to leave, I am the Trojan horse. I am willing to do whatever I need to do, say whatever I need to say, be whoever I need to be to change the trajectory of the future for the black community and for my kids and for myself. So this whole I'm buying Parler, which is a supremacist platform allegedly, by him buying it, he's buying it and he's playing to those people so that they will sell it to him. No one's gonna sell a anti supremacist platform to somebody who's pro black. Why would you do that? That's stupid. But you will sell it to somebody who you think you can swing to their side. Maybe that's the strategy. You get the platform, and now no one can shut you up. And now you can drive traffic to your platform in order to engage the people and get them to have impactful conversations. It's not lost on me that this man had $140 million in one of the most powerful, influential banks in the world. And they told him, we will not give you a deal flow. We will not invest in your brand. We can't help you. Get out. Go home, Roger. They go home, Roger him. Do you know how much money that bank probably made on his deposits? Do you think banks let your money sit in a checking account every day? No. The number on the screen might say 140 million, but they're taking your money, they're sweeping it offshore, they're investing it overnight, they're taking your money and they're making 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 20, 30% off your money night after night, month after month, year after year. Do you know how much money that bank probably made on this man? Only to tell him he's not worthy of a deal flow? It's insanity to me. And he's angry. He's angry. And I'm willing to hear him out. Do I agree with everything he's saying? I think he went too far with the George Floyd comment. I ain't gonna lie. I think he went way too far with that. But that does not take away from the fact that when you do your research, this man donated millions of dollars to the Floyd family. And that's evidence. That's facts. That's facts. So yeah, you could say something off the cuff, but what are you really doing? Where are you actioning your money? He actioned his money into that family. And so before I make a flippant assumption over him or cancel him completely, I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna say, well, was he speaking out of turn? Was he enraged? Was he having a bad day? Or did he really mean what he was saying? And what does what he said, how does it impact the collective or the greater good? I think he said what he said because he wanted people to pay attention to the Black Lives Matter movement. He wanted people to pay attention to how they didn't really help the Breonna Taylor family and how they didn't really help the Floyd family. And they allegedly stole the money. According to this documentary, he said he saw and Candace Owens is working on. I'm going to watch it because even though I may not agree with everything someone says, I'm not so arrogant or dismissive to not really pay attention and give people the benefit of the doubt, even if I don't agree with their assessment of a situation. I'm gonna hear you out. And so yeah, I'm gonna hear Kanye out. I'm gonna hear Candace Owens out. I'm gonna watch the documentary. I'm not gonna be so blinded in my own opinions that I'm not willing to hear another side and make my own decision about what I think is going on. So I think Kanye's goal is to get people to pay attention. Do I think he's successful? Yes. He is the number one topic trending across all major news platforms across the world. He got everybody zoomed in. He got everybody focused. He got everybody worried about what he's going to do next. And it's a brilliant marketing strategy. And I'm interested to see what he's going to do with the horse he got into Troy. What is he going to do with it? Is he going to disappoint Black people by getting on the right side of history only to perpetuate systemic bias, racism, injustice, and truly execute on this red herring? Is he really going to do that? Or is he going to get in on the inside and say, got him, I got him. And we're going to see a whole different Kanye emerge from this. I got my money on a new Kanye emerging from this. Because the way that man was talking in that Drink Champs interview about how he's ready to die for what he believes in, he said, these people going to have to kill me before you get me to stop talking about what they are doing to the Black community. And I'm willing to hear him out. So let me know if you agree or disagree. Please like the live on your way out if you've been sitting here hanging out with me. I appreciate everybody for stopping through. And thank you so much. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.